outside? Should I run and hide? How do I take my company worldwide? Do you love the law? Did you watch Hee-Haw? What's the weirdest thing that you ever saw? What's it like in court? Favorite sport? Can you help with my book report? Is my hair too long? Am I right or wrong? And do you mind if I sing along to anything? Ask Alan anything in the world.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Ask Alan the podcast. I'm Alan Crone, the CEO of the Crone Law Firm, and we've got a very interesting guest today, someone I've known for a long time, done a lot of business with, Shah, who is the owner of DirectFX Printing and Signs, and he has done a lot of mail work for me, but I know Raj, you got a much bigger business than just mail. Tell us a little bit about FX and what you do.
Absolutely. Well, first off, thanks so much for having me on. What you do on this podcast is amazing. I've watched a few episodes. Just really good stuff, and I just feel humbled to be able to be on, and for you to carve out just a little bit of time for little old me. So thank you so much.
You class the place up, Raj. You really
I appreciate it. Well, yeah, you were absolutely right in that. So DFX Sign and Graphics is the business that I'm an owner of and a partner in. And so we are part of a much larger organization we call our parent company, which is called DirectFX Solutions, which you're pretty much, you've been involved with and you know about. So I have two other partners. Their names are Shah and Chris Warner. So they actually handle the printing and the mail and the commercial print side. And about 6 or 7 years ago, we started up the sign division, which is called DFX Sign and Graphics, which I am now spearheading and have been for 6 years. And it's been an absolute journey and one that I've loved and appreciate every single day for having the opportunity. So we specialize in our sign company. I'll speak a little bit more about that because that's I kind of stay in my lane and I'll let the older guys kind of stay in theirs. But we started this 6 years ago, and we are a one-stop shop for all your signage needs. We produce quality interior and exterior signage, and also provide installation services as well. We have a state-of-the-art facility and cutting-edge printing and fabricating equipment. And most of all, we have a very dedicated team of individuals that are very much in tune with our vision of taking our customers' brands and their ideas and coming up with new and innovative ways to showcase them in and around the city in the form of signage. And so, we print banners, yard signs, print and install vinyl wall coverings, custom 3D and LED signage for both interior and exterior applications. And then, so I mean, pretty much you name it, we can do it. So that's kind of the brief 50-foot overview, if you will.
All right, very good. Well, I'm always fascinated by people's businesses and how they make money, and that's my law practice has got a lot to do with that. So it's always interesting. Tell me how you got into the sign business, particularly, because that to a lot of people who aren't in the business might think, well, that's that seems like a pretty narrow market, but it's actually a much bigger market than you would think, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a commodity-based business, right? And there's a lot of players in the area. We're not the only game in town. But it's funny. It was kind of a stumble upon thing for me. I've always known that I wanted to run my own business one day, and I just didn't know what that business would be. And people say if you have a passion for something and that is of worth to other people, you can turn it into a business. And coming out of school, I just didn't know what that passion was. I just knew I was pretty good with numbers, and I liked people, and I liked building relationships. And so it wasn't until I moved to Memphis and got a glimpse of my cousin Kush, their company, him and Chris's company, DirectFX, which has been around for going on 20 years now. Can't believe it. That I realized, that passion doesn't always have to come first in a business. Sometimes passion can come later, and that's kind of what happened to me. We started this business, and the passion for seeing a project done and done on time and done right kind of grew my appetite for business and just wanting more and more. And so, sure, the monetary side of things is great, but there's no greater satisfaction than seeing your work showcased around town, and seeing your customers kind of show off their latest and greatest project, and knowing that you had even the smallest part to play in it. That's kind of where passion comes from for me. And essentially, it's all about helping people, and that's the mission of most businesses. And when you do that successfully, it only fuels that fire inside of you, and to keep going, and to want to approach the next challenge.
Were you entrepreneurial as a kid?
Yeah, so like I said, I mean, I was always big on numbers. My dad, he's been ever since we moved to the States. So as soon as I think I moved when I was about two years old. I was born in Kenya, Africa, if you can believe that. So parents were immigrant parents, with a lot of grit, and wanted to provide a better life for their three kids. And so they moved over to South Carolina, which is actually where I spent most of my childhood. But my dad actually owns liquor stores, and so he started his businesses when I was really, really young. And so when I was of age, he'd put me to work too. But I joke around all the time that, I learned the word whiskey before a lot of words that I should have learned, as a kid. I mean, I'd like to say I was always pretty good with numbers, and I'd look at my dad's, profit and loss statements, and, just really garnered an interest for not the liquor store business, but just business in general. And so, I think it was just something that kind of developed over the years, watching my father, make his way. And it was something that I really admired, and it kind of came into fruition for me in my later years outside of college. I actually graduated from Clemson University, and I took my first job out in Charlotte, North Carolina, and I worked for a home healthcare company. So that position, I mean, I was basically in charge of managing about 100 nurses, RNs, and LPNs. And so I would handle everything from, staffing to recruiting and compliance and billing. And so that position really taught me a lot about managing people, building relationships, hiring staff members that fit the vision of the business, and also keeping a healthy line, of course, at the end of the day, which is very important.
You strike me as a Kenyan version of Gary Vee.
I like that. I'll take it.
Yeah, his parents were immigrants, and they opened a liquor store, and it reminds me of a lot of the talking points that he has of how he got into entrepreneurism and that sort of thing. So
yes, sir.
Very good. How'd you get to Memphis?
So that's a very, very long-winded story, but I'm going to try to make it as short as I can.
All right.
So when I was working in Charlotte for this company, I'd been working for, I think, 3 years at that time. And so my cousin, Kush, his name is Shah, and he's been a Memphian for going on 20 years. And so he'd keep in touch with me. He'd call me from time to time, and through our conversations, he knew that I kind of always wanted to start my own thing. And so selfishly, as a first cousin, we have a lot of first cousins in our family that are really, really close, and we're like brothers. And so he selfishly, we always say he wanted one of his brothers around, close to him, because we were all from South Carolina. Some migrated to North Carolina, but he was the only one here in Memphis. So he, and funny enough, I was the only one in the family who had not come to visit him. In our very large family, I was legit the only one that had not come to visit him and see his whole setup. And so I decided I had some days off, and so I decided to take a week-long trip to Memphis. And his business had taken off at the time, and he was pretty well connected, and so I had about a week there where he kind of just showed me a life beyond my means. He took me to some of the nicest restaurants, in Memphis, which, the list goes on, obviously. And he took me to a couple Grizzlies games. And so I think it was maybe day 2 or 3, I was just convinced that I wanted to be a part of, what he's got here. And then I made the move over officially. And then we started looking at, ways to kind of add revenue to his existing business, that kind of made sense as far as a product offering. And then we, sure enough, we landed on signs, so we opened up a sign company, and this was about 6 years ago, and the rest is history.
Wow. So who's your target market for signage?
So that's the beautiful thing about what we do. Any organization, any building, any business needs a sign. So the short answer, I'd say anyone that's looking to get a sign. I mean, anywhere you drive, you're seeing signage. We're a commodity, and during the pandemic, that's one of the reasons that we stayed. We were able to identify ourselves as an essential business and stay open. So to answer your question, I'd say anyone that's looking to get a sign made. We're typically B2B, but we also have walk-in customers. We work with mom and pops all the time. So really, I mean, the sky's the limit, and we don't put boundaries or anything like that when it comes to who we consider a good customer profile for us.
Where are you located?
So we have 3 locations. It's funny you asked that, because our printing and mailing division is located downtown at 601 North 3rd Street. And then our current sign division is actually located in South Haven, 8811 US 51. And so we've kind of outgrown this little 1,000 to 1,500 square foot box that we've been operating out of for the last 6 years. And we've grown so much that we've been able to justify moving into a new building, which we are on pace to move in about a month. So we just bought a new building on Elvis Presley, right by the Walmart, not far from Graceland. So really excited about that move and what that'll entail. So we're heading in the right direction.
Somebody wants to contact you. How can they? You website, phone number. What are the contact points?
Yes, sir. So we have a website. It's called www.dfxsigninggraphics.com, and then our parent company, there's a website called www.directfxsolutions.com. And and whenever I email somebody, I mean, my signature is always there, and I don't shy away from putting my cell phone number. A lot of people will only include their office number, but I believe that when you're running a business, I mean, it's a living and breathing thing, so you need to answer the call whenever the phone rings. And so one of the things I tell people all the time is business is not for everybody, and and when that phone rings, you don't know. It could be your doctor calling about your test results, but it could be your customer, a new customer. So, and then also we're working right now to create our social media platform. We think it's a really good idea because so much of what we do is visual in nature, and so putting pictures of our installs on Instagram. We have a LinkedIn page as well. So just different social media platforms, but we do have our website and my number's everywhere. You can on the website, you can see my number and email and stuff. So pretty easy to get a hold of me.
What are there notable projects that our viewers might recognize that you've done?
Absolutely. I'm glad you asked that. So right now we're hard at work in producing most, if not all, the signage for all the new construction going on around Tomley Park and over on Riverside Drive. And so that's a very large and fun project that we're blessed to be a part of. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you interviewed Carol Coletta not long ago with Memphis River Park. So she and her team are absolutely amazing and have given us the opportunity to work alongside with them to create beautiful signage, eye-popping signage around the park, which I think is slated to open up in September of this year. So really looking forward to that. And then also we are in works with Clean Memphis on providing freestanding signage around all the parks in Memphis. Their plan is to put up new water stations at the parks to kind of promote the elimination of plastic bottle waste, just in order to provide a cleaner and safer environment for the citizens of our great city. And so we'll be starting that project up here in the next month or so. And then just recently, we finished a really fun project at U of M's campus for St. Jude's new call center. And they just opened, and basically what they do is they hire students from U of M to work at these call centers, and they reach out to some of the largest donors of St. Jude, and just to thank them for their contributions and really get a deeper understanding of the amazing work St. Jude does as a whole. So we got the opportunity to cover their walls and add custom signage in and around the call center to really liven up that space, and just create a fun environment for everyone involved in that initiative. So a lot of really cool projects that we're really excited about and really proud of.
Well, that's great. Now you talk about signs and graphics.
Mm-hmm.
Is there graphic works that you do that maybe transcends signage? Talk a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. So we have a full-fledged design team. We have a graphic design team, so we can, whether it's building a logo, if someone wants to start a business and they need to come up with a simple logo, to kind of exemplify their brand. We have a team that can build your logo and from the ground up, and then little fixes here and there. Typically, we get art files from the companies or the customers that we work with, and then if there's sprucing up that needs to be done to fit certain measurements and stuff like that, we'll take on the legwork of making those fixes. But we do have a full-fledged design staff that kind of brings the vision to life, so you can see it on a computer screen before you can see it, see the real thing. So try to be full service in that way. Yes, sir.
Sure. So if I have a message that I want to make with a sign,
absolutely,
you take that message and do the layout so that I don't have to necessarily be artistic and come to you with a piece of art.
Absolutely. We'll hop on a quick call, maybe 5-10 minutes, and just see what your brand is about, what your company is about, and kind of tailor our graphic design towards that. And then we'll send a few options and make tweaks along the way to, come up with the moneymaker. So we're very hands-on and very collaborative in that sense. Yes, sir.
I always hate to ask, someone like you about your favorite project or whatever, because people don't want to, say, well, this is my favorite. But what I'd like to ask is there a particular project other than the ones we've already talked about that you just thought was really cool, maybe outside the box?
Let's see. It's a very good question. There's a few. There's actually a bunch. I would say, so this one is actually not in Memphis. We actually did an install in Helena, Arkansas, not far, and where they have they're putting wayfinding signages all through their walking and running and biking trails, and so we basically did freestanding signs made out of Corten steel. That we use water jet cutout type of process to make stencils. And I'd love to send you a picture after this. I'm thinking about it and it's just amazing, but I may not be talking about it as well, but I will definitely send you that. So so they're just freestanding signs and they're wayfinding signage that the University of Arkansas State was really excited about. And this was something new because we work with rigid materials a lot, but we've never gotten the chance to work with Corten steel, which has a very rusty look in nature, and they were going for that really gritty and rusty and rustic look, and just the way it came out. Once I send you pictures, hopefully it'll do what I'm saying. What I'm saying it looked like justice. So that was a really fun one, and then anything we do for our nonprofit customers, we work with primarily, I want to say 50 to 60% of our clientele are nonprofits. We just stand by everything that they stand for, and we just love the work that they're doing in and around the city of Memphis. So anytime we get to do a fun project inside their building or for an event that they're having, a fundraising event, those are really easy to get behind and really make it all worthwhile for us.
Do you do those stand-up banner signs?
Absolutely. We call them retractable banners, or some people say pop-up banners. Yeah, absolutely. We can do those.
I need one, so I'll have my call you.
Awesome. I was hoping I could get some business out of this. Awesome.
Yeah, well, it's all good, right?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
All right. So how do you find Memphis as opposed to Charlotte or some of the other places that you've lived?
Very good question. So Memphis, I mean, I love Memphis as a whole. You know, it's a very, there's so much history here, right? There's so much history that kind of runs through the veins of Memphis, and you know, there's a certain pride factor that I sense from people that are from here, and there's a lot of momentum, you know, headed this way in the city. And I know the pandemic kind of you know put a halt to that, you know, for a while, but you know, nothing can stop Memphis, honestly. You know, one thing I really like about our city is the fact that like unlike the larger like metros, like you know your Chicago's and your New York's of the world, I mean it's a lot easier to get in direct communication or contact. We're in front of like the movers and the shakers, you know, of the city. And so I really admire that about Memphis. And then you know you can just really make a name for yourself, and get to work with some of the largest companies, you know, in the world here, as opposed to, you know, in a city where that's twice or three times the size, with, you know, double or triple the population. You know, there's so many local businesses here, and not, amazing nonprofits that you can do great work with, you know, where it would be a lot more difficult, I feel like, if you were in a larger city, to kind of make your mark and directly impact people and the organizations.
Yeah, Memphis being a river town has always, you know, there's always been a certain meritocracy about it, as opposed to a lot of other southern cities where, you know, it really mattered. Did you go to high school? Who was your father? Who was your mother?
Right.
In Memphis is, if you're good at what you do, Memphis will welcome you.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And Memphis has welcomed me. You know, it's been an amazing place for me to start my business. It's been an amazing place for me to meet the love of my life, which I did. And you know, we started a family here, and we use the resources that Memphis has to offer. And so, you know, Memphis will always hold a special place in my heart, you know, no doubt. And I plan on being here for a very long time.
All right. Well, I think that's a good last word, Raj. I don't think you could improve on that at all. I appreciate you doing this. I've been really enjoyed talking with you, and I found a vendor for my sign needs. And
love to hear it.
I'm telling you out there, if you're watching this and you need a sign, give Raj a call, even if you don't need a sign. You never know when you're going to need one.
That's
and,
right.
If nothing else, just put one in your front yard that says "A great guy lives here," and that'll be super. So, Raj, again, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
I want to thank everybody for watching this. If you've enjoyed it, please share it on social media or email it to your friends, anybody you think would enjoy it. If you have a need for a sign, give Raj a call. We've been displaying his contact information. And Raj, again, thanks. Raj is going to go make signs that inform people and help them get to where they need to be. And I'm going to go get some justice. Thank you all very much.